Hello everybody, I'm joined now by Justin Martin, a BDO retail partner. And Justin, the BDO Business Wellbeing Index for April is out. What does it tell us about what's happening out there with our retail sector leaders?
Thanks, Paddy. Well, look, current business performance sentiment is down on the last survey that we did in October last year. And really, this is normalised back to levels that we saw in the past. There was a bit of a blip with the general election last year. And similarly with future business performance sentiment, have seen that score come down. But again, it's back to a consistent level with what we've had in the past. And our WHO 5 score, that's sort of very consistent and stable with what we've seen in the past as well.
What are the big issues that are driving this?
Yeah, look, the main drivers for the business performance measures that retail leaders are feeling least positive about are around economic factors, cash flow, and the political environment. And these are the same metrics that leaders are expected to feel least positive about in the future. From a negative wellbeing point of view, it's very similar, but there's two additional factors. And that is, firstly, feeling that there is not a lot of support around them from people they can rely on. And secondly, which is very closely linked to that first point, is that there's seen to be a real need for succession planning over the next 6 months.
And what are your key takeouts from this?
Yeah, look, with high inflation and interest rates and supply chains being disrupted, I guess these metrics aren't surprising to us. And from our BDO UK retail survey that we saw towards the end of last year, certainly consumers are expecting to spend less in a lot of categories across the board, and looking at where they can make savings. So I guess for me, the takeout from that is, as a retailer, looking at what products that you've got that you can offer as alternatives to your customers. They're still looking to shop with you, but looking for cheaper and more value alternatives. And some of them are looking to buy less often. So how do you keep connected with them? And that's where a lot of retailers are using loyalty programs and the like to keep front of mind with their consumers.
Thanks for that. And what are you seeing from the market from your own interactions with clients?
Look, I think there's probably 4 broad trends that we're seeing across our client base and across other retailers here in New Zealand. No particular order. Omni-channel is still a real key focus, as it has been for a number of years. We saw over COVID times that the move to online, that really pushed there. That's tempered back somewhat, and the importance of bricks and mortar is coming back again. But look, across that whole piece of omni-channel, it's all about customer experience. So whether that's in-store or whether it's using AI for virtual fittings and demonstration of products, that is a real key piece that retailers need to be across. Operational efficiency, that's massive. And we're seeing that across a lot of clients, not just retail, but particularly retail. If we're seeing top lines that are somewhat static, the focus really has to be on very tight control of your costs, and looking to get real efficiency out of the staff that you've got. So that's particularly focused around your rostering and how you're managing that. We're also seeing a big focus on inventory management. That was absolutely critical through COVID times, but really no less critical now because inventory ties up a big chunk of your cash flow. So very carefully managing that and just thinking about what core brands you really are going to support and how you can still have that range for your consumers to have a reason to shop with you. And the last key trend we're really seeing is sustainability and ethical practice. Again, that has really grown over the last few years, but it focused on trying to eliminate modern slavery, thinking about the circular economy, and that interest and desire for consumers to be looking at upcycling and recycling. That's something that we're seeing across a lot of retail clients.
Okay, thanks for that, Justin. And we're going to go now out into the field, actually out into the retail sector, the gardening sector. Let's get the view from Odorings.
The biggest issues facing Odorings right now is cash flow and cost of living crisis. As our economy has shrunk, we're finding that we have less customers. Red tape is another one. We have got consent issues at this nursery. We've got stormwater issues here. It's costing a lot in red tape. In the next 6 months, I believe the cost of living and the cash flow crisis will continue.
Everybody's minds right now will be, what are some tips for helping business leaders navigate their way through this?
Look, a couple of really key but quite simple tips to share with you today. Number one, without a doubt, is having a really strong business plan. And that plan really should be scaled for the size of your business. So for a small retailer, it can be a very simple plan on a page. For a larger retailer, no doubt will be a more complex plan. And that plan really needs to articulate what your strategy is, what your core proposition is for a consumer, and then what actions fall out of that plan over the course of the next 12 months and how you will track those actions and make sure that you deliver on them. And the second tip would really, as a component of that plan, be that having a three-way forecast, that's a profit and loss, a balance sheet, and a cash flow statement all linked together, is a critical part of the financial piece of the plan. We saw that coming through the sentiment from the Wellbeing Survey, that there is concern out there around managing finances and economic pressures. Having a forecast is one of the best ways to help give yourself some comfort around mitigating as much as you can that concern and pressure, because once you've set your forecast, you've got that, you can come back to that each month, each week, and see how you're tracking throughout the year.
And we'll come back to you shortly, but first let's go out into the field for their views on how they are tackling the big issues.
What we do to keep on top of financials at Oderings is it's always about information. It's about getting that information out of the systems that we need in order to make decisions quickly and pivot quickly. We also are not replacing full-time team that have left, and we're replacing with part-times. As far as financials for the company goes, we've been working with BDO very closely. BDO has helped us put in a new accounting system. We're also putting in a wholesale new system so that it can tell us exactly what it's costing us to produce our plants.
And to wrap things up, where should business leaders head to start this conversation and to get more help and support?
You will look, please do check out our BDO.nz website. We've got a full copy of the report, our video insights and sector-specific tips up there. So have a look at that, reflect on where you sit with your business, and then look, a good way is to reach out to your peers within your industry to talk to them and see what they're seeing and how you can either work together or learn from each other, and other advisors that you rely on. And of course, your BDO team is always happy to talk as well.
Thanks, Justin. That was fantastic.
Thanks, Teddy.